So today is a very special episode of the Giving Town podcast because it's the first ever live recorded episode where we get to know several of Newberg's service clubs. So whether you've already been thinking about joining a service club or maybe you have no idea what a service club even is, this will be a helpful episode for you. And no matter who you are, I can almost guarantee that you're going to learn something new. Hi, I'm Daniel Roberts, host of the Giving Town podcast. I am a realtor in Newberg, a member of the Newberg Rotary Club, and an ambassador for the Chehalem Valley Chamber of Commerce. I also have a separate YouTube channel about the real estate related aspects of this town. But I love this town. I love helping people move here and buy and sell property here. And I really love sharing about all of the great organizations and individuals who make this town the great place that it is. And that's really the heart and soul of this podcast, to share stories that help people in Newberg and the surrounding area to be inspired, get involved, and ultimately to have hope for our future. This episode was done in partnership with Leadership Chehalem Valley, which is a 2-year program that offers valuable leadership assessment and training, shows how communities are structured and how they work, and gives real-world examples of community leadership. In short, it's a great opportunity for local businesses and community leaders to get to know the communities they serve while becoming better leaders themselves. If that's something you think you might be interested in, there's a link in the description below, or you can just look up Leadership Chehalem Valley online. So what does that have to do with this episode? Well, 1 day per month, the leadership cohort for Leadership Chehalem Valley gets to know one of the different aspects of the community. So one of those is getting to know the local service clubs. So I was invited to interview a panel of 4 representatives from local service clubs to help the leadership cohort team learn more about them. Because this interview ran for over an hour, I've turned it into 2 episodes. So you're going to have to come back next week because I had to cut this off about halfway through. So tune in next week to listen to part 2. And with that, we'll just jump right into today's episode. Well, hey everyone, thank you so much for coming. Not like you had much of a choice because you're all part of Leadership Chehalem Valley. So you're a captive audience, which is great because you're my first actual live audience for this podcast. You guys are looking around like you're nervous about something. Yeah, it's right there. So, yeah, basically what this is going to be, there's a panel. We've got Jackie Lane with Soroptimist, Kevin Purcell with Kiwanis Club. We've got Augie Gonzalez with the Newberg Rotary Club, and then Linda Sandberg, who you all know, with the Morning Rotary Club. Basically what this is going to be is a conversation. I'm going to be asking them different questions. I may sneak 1 or 2 on them that they're not prepared for, but I'll try to be kind. And they'll be answering to the best of their ability. And it should be a fun time. I know we are trying to keep a good time limit here, so I won't belabor anything. And if you start dragging on too much, I may cut you off. But I think we'll be good. So try to keep answers, obviously the short ones, like what is your name or your club's name. We'd probably skip that because I just said what it was. But the other ones, maybe, try to stay under 2 minutes, 90 seconds, something like that. So with that, we can go ahead and get started. And what we can do, we'll just start on the end with Jackie. She'll answer, and then you can all just kind of take a turn answering the questions. So I'll just start with the first one. Jackie, can you share a little bit about yourself? Obviously, we know your club's name is Soroptimists, but what is Soroptimist? So share what that is, and then what the involvement is within this community, and then share why you chose to join this club and how long you've been a part of it. So you have the questions in front of you, I think, because I know there's kind of like a 3-in-1 right there.
Thank you, Daniel. I go way back in the community. I was born and raised in Newberg. So when I left for college in 1969, I didn't come back for a long time, except to visit friends and family, that kind of thing. But I lived in Eugene for 11 years working, and then Jeff and I, during one of the recessions, moved up to West Lynn. And during that time in West Lynn, my parents started to age out. My dad got sick, and we bought their business, Newberg Steel. And so after our kids were through high school and college, we ended up moving back to Newberg. So I've come full circle, and we've been here since 2012. So owning a business helped us connect with a lot of people in Newberg. And in 2009, I read an article in the Graphic about Soroptimist was wanting to start a club in Newberg. So my daughter, who was graduating from Oregon State at the time, I said, hey, why don't you go to this meeting? You can meet some people in Newberg. You're going to be living here. This would be really wonderful. So she went to the meeting and came back and said, oh, Mom, it's their mission is helping women and girls. And I was from a family of 4 girls. I had 2 daughters in our family. Only thing I really knew were women and girls. So she said, if you join, I'll join. So we both joined together back when the club chartered in 2009. So I've been a member for a little over 13 years.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Kevin Purcell, and I'm the president of the Newberg Kiwanis Club this year. And actually, this year is the 75th anniversary of the Newberg Kiwanis Club. So we've been serving the community for 75 years. About me, a little bit, I started teaching at Dundee Elementary School in 1980. My wife and I moved down here, and I spent 22 years in the Newberg School District as a teacher, principal, director of special programs under the awesome leadership of Dr. Paula Radich, and she was a great superintendent. And actually, when I was director of special programs, that's when I joined Kiwanis. The assistant superintendent, Dr. Sandra Lawson, and I joined Kiwanis, and Paula has been a Rotary member ever since. And that's just a little bit about me, and I'll talk a little bit more about Kiwanis a little bit later. I did put a few things on your table that answer a lot of those questions. This one just tells you a little bit about Kiwanis, and that we have some service leadership programs that I'll talk a little bit more about later.
Great. My name is Augie Gonzalez, and I'm with the Newberg Noon Rotary Club. There are 2 Rotary clubs here in Newberg, and back in about 2000, the Rotary Club was over 100 members, and we had a lot of members that felt that the noon meetings didn't always fit, and so there was a need for a morning club, and so we sponsored the morning club, and so there are 2 options in terms of your interest in Rotary. I have been a member since 1996, and I served as president in 2000, and I also am on the Newberg Rotary Foundation, and I've been on the foundation since about 2004. I came to Newberg in 1993 looking for a space to open up urgent care. Couldn't find it. We decided to build, and we had a grand opening in 1995. And I've been here since. The following year, I joined Rotary, and I also, it's just a coincidence, I also joined the Chamber. And those were the 2 organizations that I felt that I wanted to be a part of, that reflected a lot of my own personal values in terms of giving back and participating in this community.
Hi, you guys know me, Linda Sandberg. We moved to Newberg over 25 years ago, and I was able to find Telecom. And so when the kids were growing up, Telecom was my service project, and you know the story, challenge course facilitator on paid staff at the end. But as my kids started leaving, and I met a lot of really cool Rotarians when I was on the chamber board serving for Telecom, and I fell in love with Rotary because of the service. For me, it was, I could do a one and done, like we would go out and do a service project, and that was really fulfilling to me. But as time grew, I found out more and more about Rotary. So, and I've been a member for only about 4 years, so I'm a newbie to Rotary. I also do want to point out that Alex is a member and Karen is a member of Rotary. So, oh, and Scott, I'm so sorry.
And me, Linda.
Oh.
I know, I'm kind of hidden back here. All right, thank you everyone for that. Next one will just be sharing a bit about your club's primary mission and then what your club is known for in Chehalem Valley.
Soroptimist is a Latin word that means best for women. And I'm so sorry it's hard to pronounce. I wish it had an easy name, just 2 syllables, but it doesn't. So the primary mission, like I mentioned, is helping women and girls, and each club is allowed to establish what they find in their community as a need. And so even though the overlying umbrella is helping women and girls, you can decide within your club what you'd like to do. The international organization of the Americas covers North America. So we're part of North America, Latin America, and Pacific Rim, and in that group are 30,000 members, and we're in 120 different countries. So it is an international organization, but we function under those guidelines. Our club has chosen 2 of the programs that are also suggested by the Americas, and they're called DREAM programs. And Live Your Dream is a scholarship program for women that are head of household, have someone at home they're still supporting. It could be a parent, it could be a disabled husband, it could be their children, and they are going back to school. And so financially we support that education process, and our club awarded 2 scholarships this past year, just a few weeks ago, at $3,000 each for each of those women to continue with their education. So we do something similar for high school senior girls, young women, and then we've added a brand new scholarship that is called the Martine Black Memorial Scholarship, and that's just going out this year for the first time. In honor of Martine, he would submit soups every year to our Soups On fundraising, and they also produced a line of spices that the club was able to purchase at wholesale and then resell at retail. And so we wanted to do a scholarship in his memory and to encourage students to go into the fields of culinary, hospitality, I'm tongue-tied now, winemaking and agro-winemaking. So we have, what we're best known for in the community, I think, is our largest fundraiser, which is Soups On. And that is where we invite chefs, both professional and home chefs, to submit soups. The ticket buyers get to sample all the soups, judge them, and so we have fun competing. And then during that time, we also use it as an educational opportunity. And this last year, we had a guest speaker on human trafficking. And so I have here with me today a little card that I'd like each of you to take, because it has a hotline number for human trafficking, which involves, it can either be sex trafficking or it can be servitude type trafficking. And so those are both social issues that have continued to grow. And so this will help you spot an offender, and maybe you can call the hotline and say, hey, this looks suspicious to me, can you check it out? And that's what you need to do. You don't need to pull your gun and go, be the cop. So, thank you.
Kiwanis International is also an international, and we are in 80 different countries. And it's a global organization of volunteers working to improve the world one child and one community at a time. And our main focus is on children. And there actually is we have several different programs. There's actually K-Kids is grades 3 through 5. Builders Club is for middle schoolers. Key Club, you guys are probably familiar with, is the high school one. KCI is college level, and then we actually were hoping to get going this year an action club, which is actually a service club for adults with disabilities. And I've been working a little bit with Todd Seiler, who his brother Tim lives in that Springbrook Park over there, where there's a community. And when I was director of special programs, I knew a lot of those guys, and be a lot of fun to get that going, hopefully this year. I would say our biggest project, our biggest fundraiser is our golf tournament, and we talked at our board meeting this morning. We have a date. It's August 30th, and we usually raise about $25,000 with that golf tournament, and we have 5 high school senior scholarships that we give out of $3,000 each, so we give $15,000 every year. And then we have lots of different projects, like we do the Halloween crossing guard downtown to make sure that kids and parents get across the street safely. We do the highway cleanup between Newberg and Dundee. We just did that the other day, and yes.
Add 240 to that.
So we have several other different projects, but I think we'll have opportunity to share about those a little bit later.
Rotary has a lot of different levels, and we have a group at the high school level. It's the Interact Club, and we have a group at the college level, which is the Rotaract Club, and then there's the community clubs, Morning Club and Noon Club, and then we also have involvement at a district level and international. Internationally, I think the spotlight is on polio right now, and we're trying to eradicate polio, and so that's one of our biggest efforts, and a lot of that has been with the additional support from Bill Gates, the Bill Gates Foundation. So we, at the local level, our club is known for service to youth in the community, and that's our primary mission and support. The Morning Club you'll hear is bricks and mortar, and so it's a great compliment for both clubs to be able to support the community in this fashion. And so I think that a lot of people, when they think about the Noon Club, they think about the youth services that we provide. And let me give you an example of some of the programs that we're well known for. The first is Rotary Scholarships. We provide $50,000 to youth in this community. And more recently, we have evaluated our scholarships, and we now are earmarking funds for students that want to go into the vocational trades. It's not just college anymore. So I think that's a big turn and a great plus for students who are interested in vocational areas. We also have, and I think it's pretty popular, we sponsor a dictionary project. So we give every third grader in this community a dictionary. You know, that seems kind of odd these days when dictionary and everything else is on this. So, but you know, people still have a lot of pride in their dictionary. Some of the others is we have sponsored, in conjunction with the Early Bird Club, parks. We have quite a few parks in this community that have been built by Rotary. The community park, you know, that we use for the Old Fashioned Festival. Again, that was one of the parks that we helped build. Some of the other services that we also provide for students is we have youth exchange projects where students can participate in either a year-long or summer-long international exchange to other countries, which is a great experience for students. We also have a RILA program, which is a program designed to help young entrepreneurs in leadership skills. And some of the other programs that we sponsor here in the community, youth-related, the senior grad night for both Newberg and St. Paul, we help sponsor those. We have sponsored the Royal Family Kids Camp that helps foster kids, the Teen Reach Adventure Camp, which helps abused teens, Toy and Joy, Camp Telecom, the Newberg Pool, the Cub Scouts, robotics team, Newberg Children's Library, Shop with a Cop, the Nurses Aid Program, the Newberg High School Resource Room, the Young Life, Ballet Folklorico, a program called Yes, which is a junior orchestra for Yamhill that provides a music program for kids in this area. Peace Village, we help support the George Fox Serve Day. We help support the Summer Enrichment Program, the Rotary Mule Project here in town. We have 4 murals. The Newberg High School Catalyst Program, which is the alternative school. We have supported Head Start, A Family Place, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and the list just goes on and on. All of the youth sports activities we've helped sponsor and help them with a lot of their needs too. So there are just a lot of opportunities for us to be involved and support youth in this community.
So to piggyback on what Augie said, Alex was actually an exchange student. It would be cool if you guys talked to her about her experience. That's one program that's near and dear to, I think, both of our hearts. The morning club, we call ourselves Early Birds, and it is early at 7 o'clock in the morning. We really focus on bricks and mortar. And so some of the projects that we have done, we gave a large grant to Telecom to help fix the lake. We recently gave a grant to the animal shelter. I don't know if any of you have been to the animal shelter, but they needed to get cement in so the dogs could have a safe place to be and not dig out, which I was over there, and it's a real problem. We've given grants to the parks. Today you'll be at CPRD out in front of the Aquatic Center. We love to do parks. Our club loves parks. If you look at the new structure out at the Cultural Center, that picnic area, that's something that we've built. And we really do encourage nonprofits to actually apply. Our foundation is set up a little differently than the morning club.
And the noon club.
The noon club, thank you. We have a very nice endowment, and so we have funds every year that we need to give away. And it's always been Ken Austin and Kenny Austin, really were charter members. And so bricks and mortar, that is what we're known for. But just like the noon club, we love doing the pancake breakfast. That's one of our outreaches, and Christmas families, and we do a lot of work together. So they're the first people that will ask, and vice versa. And so it's a really cool relationship that we have, and I feel like we're one big Rotary club at times.
Well, thank you, everyone. And I know my next question was going to be, can you share some of your key projects, areas of service, and who primarily benefits? Now, most of you have already answered that to a degree. If you want to elaborate on that, for like 10 seconds or 20 seconds, because most of you already did that. Then we can move on, in interest of time, to the next question, which is, personally, what was your favorite service project or club activity? So if you want to elaborate on another project that you didn't get to, feel free to do so briefly, and then share your favorite, for you personally, your favorite service project or club activity. Go ahead, Jackie.
I did miss one project I wanted to talk about, and it's coming up fairly soon. It's called Dream It, Be It, and it is a dream program for high school girls, and it's a full-day seminar that is career support. And so its purpose is to encourage young women and young men as well to start thinking about their career likes and dislikes early. And so in this full-day seminar, we start out with breakfast. They do a dream collage that helps them kind of vision what their life is going to look like in 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And then we step into goal setting and a personality analysis that will tell them what jobs kind of fit with your personality and your giftedness. And then over lunch, we invite speakers from the community like yourselves that have reached a career goal, and that you would share that career goal and how you attained it. You know, what was your education background, or was it all hands-on work related, so that they can see the steps that local community members have taken to get to where they are today and hopefully be an inspiration. They get to meet with that person over lunch, and so they can take away their business card and have a future coffee, something like that. So that's coming up April 29th. It will be held at PCC, and I brought posters for that today, that if you'd like to take one, or you know a young person that could benefit from the program, it tells the contact information and how to sign up for that. But we haven't had it for 3 years, so we're excited to offer it again, and it's always a great time. Let me continue. Now I've forgotten the next question. My favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite. I'll do that one really quick. Personally, Lavender Festival is my favorite service event. It's kind of twofold. I mean, it benefits the club because we sell local Newberg products there at the festival. It's combined with the art inside, and it's got music, it's got art, it's got crafts, it's got all the things I personally love. It gives us a great opportunity to introduce people to a nonprofit, because most of them don't know what Soroptimist is. And it also is a time for us to reach out and obtain new members. So just love it.
Thank you. Yes, I did want to mention a couple of things. Augie said that Rotary International is working on eliminating polio. In the last 15 years, Kiwanis International has raised over $100 million for 2 different projects, one called iodine deficiency disorder throughout the world. So it's basically just adding a little bit of salt that eliminates mental retardation throughout the world. And then the most recent one that they've raised about $110 million for is maternal and neonatal tetanus. And in a lot of countries, if the mother contracts tetanus and has a baby, it lives about a week and dies a horrible death, and it's only like $1.70 for a tetanus shot. And so the Kiwanis International has almost essentially eliminated maternal and neonatal tetanus throughout the world. And the other one, the Pacific Northwest Division, which includes Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and British Columbia, has had a big push on, it's called KCCP, Kiwanis Children's Cancer Program. And Kiwanis sponsors 2 physician scientists at Dornbecker Children's Hospital, 2 at Seattle Children's Hospital, and 1 at BC Children's Hospital. And 40 years ago, the survival rate for kids with cancer was about 20%. Today, it's over 80%. And I think a lot of it is attributed to these physician scientists who have done incredible work. They have required them that they can only work 80 hours a week in the clinic. So these doctors are just unbelievable. I guess my favorite service projects are probably the golf tournament. We have one Special Olympics team, and it's really fun to have those guys out there. And it's a big one for us. And then the other one is just our Thursday noon lunch meetings. It's great fellowship, and we have wonderful speakers. Scott's going to be our speaker this Thursday. And we meet at noon at the Chehalem Cultural Center.
And did you answer your favorite? I might have been looking at a question while you answered your favorite project.
Yeah, the golf tournament.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. I wasn't paying attention. My bad.
You play golf?
No, that's probably why I wasn't paying attention. Thanks, Kevin.
So for myself, there are just so many different areas of Rotary that I'm going to say are my favorite, but I think I need to reflect on what consumes the most of the time that I give to Rotary. And that started back in 2002. I was kind of like you guys, sitting in the audience listening to a panel. And there was a couple of dentists and a community member, a Rotarian, and they were talking about a dental clinic that they had participated in Honduras. And I sat there and I go, wow, that sounds wonderful, to go to another country, to provide that kind of service to people who have never seen a dentist. I would love to do that. Fast forward 1 year, basically the same panel, I'm listening to them, and I'm saying, wow, that sounds great. I'd love to participate in that. And then I had this huge revelation that I needed to change my behavior. I needed to change my words. And at that moment, I said to myself, wow, that's a program, and I'm going to get involved in it. And I did, and I have to say that I've been involved since 2002, and I've been part of the leadership for the last 10 years, and we've taken a group, and it started with about 15 individuals, and it grew to a max of 45 individuals, and I tell you, it's hard to manage 45 people. We started as a dental clinic, we expanded to dental, medical, construction, a water project, a microbanking, and education. And I tell you, it's just so fulfilling to be able to bring all those kinds of services to a community that is basically just poor. The first year I went into a house, a family of 4, and the walls were made of sugar canes. The roof was a tin roof, and they had some boards that would cross for support for the roof, and they had a fire inside. And I saw one of the beams, and it was black, and so I scratched it, and there was about 1/4 of an inch of tar on this beam. And I couldn't believe it. And I says, if there's 1/4 of an inch on that beam, how much is in these people's lungs? And so we also participated in a great stove program that we brought stoves so that people would take the open fire pits out of their homes to help improve their lives too. But I can't tell you the amount of growth that I've had personally, and I think the area that has inspired me the most is to see individuals participate. And, you know, we've had a lot of students from OHSU, both medical and dental students, and they always come thinking they have all these skills to give, and there's a certain humility process that takes place because, you know, at the end of the week, they will say, you know, I've had a life-changing experience. And I think that, you know, you can talk to Alex. I think that international service is that kind of experience. It's wonderful. It really expands our horizon and our vision. And I'll say this is that, you know, I come from, you know, a very simple family. We were very poor. We didn't have a lot, but my parents gave a lot, even the little that they had. They role modeled that, and so that value I've carried with me, and that is something that I can live out in Rotary too. And I've had experiences that I wouldn't have had otherwise if it weren't for Rotary. And a lot of these are international experiences.
So for me, I love the work that Rotary does internationally, and it's probably one of my favorite. With Northwest Medical Teams, I actually was able to do the work that Augie did in Guatemala with the stoves. Our club, internationally, we have a partnership with La Plata. Alex, have you been there?
No, hopefully next year.
Maybe we'll go together. But what we've done in that community is we have provided sanitation. And as you know, in those communities, everything flows downhill. So we were able to provide bathrooms and clean water sources for that. And I think the one that I love the most that we did this year is we donated a van to help get the seniors to their senior center and to get them to doctor's appointments. And I think when you travel internationally with any of our organizations, it really puts everything in perspective. So I love the work that service clubs in general do internationally, but I also love the work that they do. I think the thing that I'm most proud of is I really feel honored to be part of our foundation, the Early Bird Foundation, to help make the decisions. And it's fun for me because when we do that, we really get consensus. And sometimes we have to work through a few things, but to me, I like the fact that we can work with Catalyst. Catalyst is one of our favorites, I think, with the foundation. And then the other thing that I'm a very relational person and I love events. So for me, my favorite event is the pancake breakfast because we do that with the Noon Club. So it's the one time of the year that we get to see everybody in our community. We get to hang out with all of our favorite Rotary people and serve a lot of people and have a lot of fun. And then I love to serve beer. And so Summerfest, which we do in August, September, it's a lot of fun. So for me, Rotary is about community as well.
Well, that concludes part 1 of today's episode, and thanks so much for tuning in, and make sure you come back next week for part 2. If you're interested in learning more about the service clubs that were talked about today, I have included links to each of the service clubs mentioned, and you can learn more on their websites. Well, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next episode.